Welcome to Universal Man, where we turn your flight into fight so that you can master yourself, conquer your goals, and live on the front line of your life. My name is Mark Weppett, and I'm here to help you sharpen your masculine edge so that you can cut through the resistance that's holding you back from becoming a man that you admire. And in today's video, I'm going to be looking at the difference between the slight edge and deep work. These are two popular concepts in terms of how to get things done. Deep work is all about trying to get intense, uninterrupted times of really focused work. But then the slight edge is all about how you can do consistent, kind of low effort, but kind of like everyday sort of effort. So it's like intensity versus consistency. What's the best way that you should approach accomplishing your goals? Well, it seems like these two things can be at odds, but in reality, they can work together, but you just need to figure it out. You need to think about it a little bit. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So welcome back, everybody. I've got a whole bunch of new videos that I'm going to be filming for you guys. I took a little time off. I had to kind of gather myself. I had really upped my effort in trying to put out a bunch of videos for you guys. I've really increased my output, but I realized that as I was doing this, I wasn't really putting enough time into other things, primarily, other pieces of content, like the bigger pieces, like the big courses and books and that kind of stuff, because I was spending all this time on these videos. And I love these videos, but I needed to either scale things back or find a different approach. And I didn't really want to scale things back too much because I like this frequency. I like being able to connect with you guys a lot and put a lot of content out. But it was just starting to get kind of hard. So what I did is I kind of reflected on some of the stuff that I've studied in the past that had a big impact on my productivity. And there are two big books that kind of struck me and that have had a big impact on me. And it was Cal Newport's Deep Work and Jeff Olson's The Slight Edge. And both of these are extremely popular books. They're very, very good. I highly recommend you check them out. And I knew that my answer was going to be found somewhere in there, but the issue is that they can seem kind of contradictory concepts. The slight edge approach, as I said in the intro, it's really about doing something super consistently with kind of minimal effort, like finding that minimum effective dose and having that dose all the time. So an example of that would be, say you want to write a book, it would be sitting down and writing for 5 to 10 minutes every day. Okay. And the idea is that by leveraging that consistency of every single day, that actually allows you to get a lot done, eventually. So And it also, it's not super hard. It's not very taxing in a, per instance basis, right? And I've had a lot of success with using that kind of approach with things. But then on the other side of things is Cal Newport's Deep Work. And this concept is based upon the idea that you need super long stretches of uninterrupted time so that you can really just kind of, drill down and focus and not be interrupted and just, have all of your resources aligned so that you can get one big task done. And so the extreme example of this would be kind of like going away into a cabin in the woods for a few months and finishing your book that way. So it's like they're two different extremes, and I was trying to figure out how the heck am I supposed to, implement this? It's like on one hand, I see the value of the slight edge. On the other hand, I see the value of deep work, but there's got to be some kind of middle ground. So as I started to think about it, what I realized is that it's really kind of task dependent because each approach is best for different kinds of activities. So let's look at the deep work. What is that best for? Well, I think deep work is best for activities that have a big startup time, meaning that they're very kind of difficult to generate some sort of flow with. So I've been looking at Michael Hyatt's Free to Focus productivity course recently, and the way that the analogy he uses is like, imagine you're doing work on the bottom of the ocean, like you're a deep sea welder or something like that. Okay, well that task has a lot of startup. You got to get on a boat, and then you got to drive the boat all the way out to the dive site, and then you got to put all your equipment on, and then you got to dive all the way down to the bottom of the ocean. And then it's slow going, you're not in your natural environment, it's kind of difficult, but once you're down there, you really start making some progress. Now, with that kind of work, if you have to keep constantly going back up to the surface or going back to shore, well, you're never going to get anything done. The slight edge approach will absolutely not work with that kind of thing because there's such a big startup time. And there's a surprising amount of startup time, I think, for most activities. There's more than you might think. It takes a little while to kind of put all the relevant pieces of information in your awareness so that you can really start getting work done. And as soon as that interruption comes along, it's kind of like, someone scattered all the papers off your desk and you got to, get them all back in the right place before you can really get back into that flow again. So if you've got a task with a big startup time, then deep work is probably the way to go. But not all tasks are like that. Some tasks are just things that you got to get done. It's just kind of a snap of the finger. It's just you have to do it, right? And that's where I think the slight edge is really, really wonderful. There's a lot of things that will improve your life dramatically if you just do them. If you just do them consistently. So something simple would be like drinking water instead of soda. That's a slight edge habit change right there. That doesn't require deep, intense work to make that happen. But if done consistently, it could make a very positive improvement in your life. So whenever you have a goal, what you want to do is kind of look at the necessary pieces of achieving that goal and break them down according to, all right, is this going to be best as a deep work activity or a slight edge activity? And another way of thinking at it is, am I going to have to do something in batches, like where I kind of do a whole bunch of work at once, or just kind of light and consistent? Okay. And so let's look at diet change, since that's one thing we just mentioned, like a dietary replacement that's simple, like changing water or soda for water. That's simple. You can do that every day kind of thing. Maybe changing packing your lunch versus picking up a Big Mac on the way home from work. That's a little bit more difficult, because if you're not in the habit of packing a lunch, well, all of a sudden it's like, do you want to be packing a lunch every day? Well, that's something that takes a little bit of time, right? And so you might actually be better off batching that, dedicating like a few hours on Sunday to doing all your meal prep or something like that, okay? And what that does then is that focus in there, you get all the ingredients out, all the stuff, you make all the food at once, instead of having to go through all that, prep time every single day. You go through it all at one time, create a bunch of food, package it up, and then you got your lunches done for the week. So that's something that follows more of this deep work or batching approach. And so, I know me personally, now that I see this, in hindsight, obvious principle, I realized that I've really worked against myself in a lot of different instances, because I was doing, things that should have been batched consistently and doing things that should be done consistently, trying to like get real intense with it in like one instance. And it just doesn't work that way. In fact, this is how I'm changing up my videos. I'm deciding that, hey, I'm going to batch a bunch of videos. I'm going to film a bunch in one day, and then I'm going to release them over a period of time, so that, because there's a big startup period and there's a big, a bunch of collateral for creating a video. I got to outline it all. I got to set up my camera. I've got to film it. I've got to then edit it all. And then I've got to upload it all. And, got to get the newsletter, got to get the thumbnail, all that stuff for one video. And so if I can do all that stuff in batches, well, hey, that actually is going to save me a ton of time, and it's going to open up a lot of space for me to start working on other stuff and making progress in other projects that I'm really excited to bring you guys. So for you guys out there who are quitting porn, let's apply this principle here. All right. So the slight edge principles that you might apply to quitting porn would be tracking your streak every day, like writing down, did you stay clean or not? Putting that little checkbox there. Another one might be checking in with an accountability partner on like a forum or something like that. Maybe like posting on a forum, just like a quick post and seeing what people got in there. Okay, that takes together. Those things take a few minutes, and if you want to do it, if you have a little bit more time that you can put consistently, maybe do a quick journal entry. Okay, that's combined, that can be anywhere between 5 and 15 to 20 minutes, which is pretty reasonable for a day-to-day thing of the magnitude of quitting porn, okay? But, say you bought my course, over at NoFap Academy, and you're going through that, and, you could try and add a video on top of that every day, but then that starts getting up into like, all right, you're going to have to block out a significant amount of time, because a lot of those videos are like 5 to, 12 minutes. And so that might start being a lot. And maybe you decide instead that you're going to batch it. You're going to, spend a couple days a week where you watch 3 or 4 videos at once and really try and do the exercises and that kind of thing. And then you just keep the baseline stuff going, those slight edge principles going throughout the week. And so being strategic and intentional about this kind of stuff, I think, is really, really important. So as I saw this, a lot of things started to make sense, like why, like how a lot of the most successful people set up their days. And what I think the best way to do it is basically it's like you combine the two approaches, all right? You batch slight edge disciplines. So like you batch those tiny things into routines. So, the things that you want to do consistently, you have a few routine blocks in your day. So say you got a morning routine and an evening routine, okay? Well, in that, you can put all those little consistent things wrapped up nice and neat in certain parts of your day so that you don't need to have, so they're not floating all around. It's just like you make them, you put them in autopilot and you just keep grinding away at them. And then between those routines, you got big chunks of open space. Well, I mean, if you work for yourself, you have big chunks of open space that you can then apply to whatever your deep work is, whatever your big focus is. And so that's what I'm trying to do. And so, you can't build all of this at once. Eventually my goal would be to have, a morning routine, a workday startup routine, like a nap routine, a workday shutdown routine, and pre-bed one. So like that's 5 different like blocks of stuff. But I'm not near that right now. I'm currently just working on my morning routine. It'll probably take me a year or more to really try and get all those locked down because it takes a while to make stuff automatic for yourself. And so, pick one routine and fill it with the most important thing that you need to live a good life. And then identify where in your week you've got big blocks of time that you can focus in on something important, okay? And for you, maybe, that only happens a few hours on the weekend. Maybe there's certain weeknights that you're free that, you got a big chunk of time and you can do something good with it. Well, plan that time out. Make sure that you put that to use. If you've got some big goal that you're not making progress on, you got to figure out how it's going to fit into either a routine slot or, a uninterrupted work slot. Okay. And if you don't do this intentionally, then it's probably not going to happen. Like, our lives are busy. We got a lot of stuff to do. If you work at a 9 to 5, like you got to be extra intentional about this stuff. I mean, if you're not working a 9 to 5, you also have to be extra intentional about this stuff because time will just disappear if you don't structure it properly. But having good strategies can make all the difference. So let me know in the comments below what you're going to be doing. Where are you going to be implementing some slight edge or maybe some deep work? And tell me what you got going on. So that's it. I hope you found this useful and helpful. Make sure you provide any feedback you guys have for me. I love hearing from you and stay sharp. I'll see you in the next one.